Alright guys, Papa Pepper back once again. 50 days to understanding the end times more accurately. Today we move on to day number 8, called the exaltation of the Antichrist. Hopefully you've been following along so far and are at least up to speed with the points I've made so far. Let's see where we go from here. Because God reveals to us events that occurred during the 70th week of Daniel and characteristics of the day of the Lord, we can use the Bible to compare these two. Quote, "And he shall confirm the covenant with many for 1 week. And in the midst of the week he shall cause the sacrifice and the oblation to cease. And for the overspreading of abominations he shall make it desolate, even until the consummation, and that determined shall be poured upon the desolate." End quote. Daniel chapter 9, verse 27. We see an event mentioned as occurring in the midst of the week, which is spoken of elsewhere. Jesus repeatedly refers to it as the abomination of desolation. Quote, When ye therefore shall see the abomination of desolation, spoken of by Daniel the prophet, stand in the holy place, whoso readeth, let him understand. End quote. Matthew chapter 24, verse 15. Quote, But when ye shall see the abomination of desolation, spoken of by Daniel the prophet, standing where it ought not, let him that readeth understand. Then let them that be in Judea flee to the mountains. Mark chapter 13, verse 14. Twice in the New Testament, we see Jesus refer to the abomination of desolation spoken of by Daniel the prophet. This is therefore the same event referred to by Daniel. In the midst of the week he shall cause the sacrifice and oblation to cease, and for the overspreading of abominations shall make it desolate, even until the consummation, and that determined shall be poured upon the desolate, which happens in the middle of the 70th week of Daniel. The same event is also commented on elsewhere in both the Old and New Testaments. Please read the following and see if you notice a trend. Quote, And the king shall do according to his will, and he shall exalt himself, and magnify himself above every god, and speak marvelous things against the God of gods, and shall prosper till the indignation be accomplished, for that is determined shall be done. End quote. Daniel chapter 11, verse 36. Who opposeth and exalteth himself above all that is called God, or that is worshipped, so that he as God sitteth in the temple of God, showing himself that he is God. 2 Thessalonians chapter 2, verse 4. At the time of the abomination of desolation, the Antichrist will exalt himself. Daniel 11:36 records that he shall exalt himself and magnify himself above every god. And 2 Thessalonians chapter 2, verse 4 states that he will exalteth himself above all that is called God. We can rest absolutely assured that the Antichrist will exalt himself near the halfway point of the 70th week of Daniel. Twice we have already been told that the Lord alone shall be exalted during the day of the Lord. Now we are told twice that the Antichrist will exalt himself right in the middle of the 70th week of Daniel. Obviously, these two time periods cannot be the same, and the day of the Lord cannot be a time period that includes the entire 70th week of Daniel. Point number 1, the Lord alone will be exalted during the day of the Lord. Point number 2, the Antichrist exalts himself right in the middle of the 70th week of Daniel. Point number 3, these are in opposition to one another. That's the end of day 8, people. I hope you're enjoying this. I hope you're learning something. I think there's some times ahead that God wanted to reveal some events to us before they happen, so we'd be ready for them. I'll be back tomorrow. Pop out.